know that if they're going to do bad stuff like that, it's not going to be acceptable.
New at 5, facing criminal charges, a Miami Gardens police officer taken off the streets last week, accused of kneeling on a woman's neck, is now on the other side of the law. The officer was working off-duty at a club in Miami Gardens when the incident happened. CBS 4's Ted Scouten is live in Miami Gardens with the charges that officer now faces in this case. Ted.
Yeah, Lauren, the state attorney's office is saying this is just senselessly wrong. We're talking about an incident that happened here in this parking lot. This is Tootsie's Cabaret. Now, a former Miami Gardens police officer is under arrest, and we are seeing some new cell phone video that was crucial in the FDLE's investigation. It's difficult to watch as Sophia Satchel is repeatedly tased after being pulled from her car while an officer's knee is on her neck. It happened in January in the parking lot of Tootsie's Cabaret. Former Miami Gardens police officer Jordi Yanis Martel is accused of giving false information on his report and using excessive force.
Once forcibly removed from the car, Martel took Miss Satchel to the ground, and once on the ground, Martel allegedly used excessive force by putting his knee on Miss Satchel's neck and drive tasing her 2 times.
Miami-Dade State Attorney Catherine Fernandez-Rundle said in the report, Martel said Satchel was resisting arrest, forcing him to use his taser twice. Investigators say the video tells a very different story.
Martel states that Satchel continued to fight by kicking and punching, and the video allegedly reflects that at the time of the first drive done by Martel, Satchel was on her back, on the ground, with Martel's knee on her neck.
Then she was tased a second time.
At that point, she was not kicking the officers. And at the time of the second drive stun, the situation had not changed. She was still not kicking the officers.
Satchel's attorney released a statement saying, in part, if you're an officer that has broken policy or acted under color of law with a belief that black lives don't matter, you ought to be looking over your shoulder because the chickens have finally come home to roost. Miami Gardens Mayor Oliver Gilbert says the arrest sends a message.
Ultimately, it's actions like this that let people know that, first of all, let officers know that if they're going to do bad stuff like that, it's not going to be accepted. But let members of the public know that there's going to be accountability built into this system.
The police union released a statement saying, we are concerned that the recent nationwide events surrounding law enforcement played into today's actions. And Martel is in jail tonight. He's facing 2 counts of official misconduct as well as 4 counts of battery. His bond was set at $6,000. By the way, he was fired last week and is also under investigation for a separate case. Live in Miami Gardens, Ted Scouten, CBS 4 News.
Okay, so y'all just heard that audio right there, and that was the news clip for what happened. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to play the audio, the unedited version of it, where you actually hear everything, like you hear the entire altercation. I can't play it on here because of the nature of the video, and I know how YouTube is, especially when it comes to my channel. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play that for you, and I'm going to want you to listen closely, especially toward the end of the clip. And if you don't hear it, I'll tell you what it is.
Because my dad's a police officer too.
Okay,
I don't either.
Yeah,
25 years. Okay, so whatever you want to do, pull me out the car. Go ahead. Don't reach in my car.
Why is y'all doing all that?
You can't reach in my car.
What are you doing?
Like, no, what is he
Why is
doing?
y'all doing all that? What are you doing? Why is you doing all that? Why the fuck is you doing all that? Are you serious? On her neck though? Why is you kneeing on her neck though? That's weird as fuck. Why is y'all kneeling on her neck though? Why are you kneeling on her neck? Get back! Get back! No, why are you tasing her? Stop. Why are you tasing her? Don't touch me. Don't touch me. No, don't touch me. Why y'all recording? Why is y'all tasing her? No.
Like, this is...
Can you please delete it?
I swear to fuck... Okay.
Okay, so y'all just heard it. That was the unedited version right there, but I'm gonna explain to y'all what happened. So basically, the story goes is that apparently, allegedly, she was causing some kind of a disturbance at this club that security was working at, and they were called, and they were basically trying to get her to leave and everything like that. Now, she and the guy that she was with in the car who was recording were already in the car, but they were trying to apprehend her. Her window was rolled down, and she basically was saying, like, you know, why are you like trying to come after me and everything like that. She even mentions that her dad was a cop. She mentioned that. She said her dad was a cop, and the one who said, then you had this guy right here said, I don't care. If you heard it closely and clearly, he said, I don't care. She said, are you going to pull me out of my car? She said, to go ahead, pull me out of my car. He reaches in so casually to unlock her car door. She tries to stop him from unlocking the door. One thing she should have done is probably had her window up, but that wouldn't stop them, because 9 times out of 10, they probably would have broke the window to get her out of the car, because I've seen it happen before. And they pull her out of the car, like literally pull her out of the car. You had one pig on her neck, like literally how George Floyd was, except she was facing upwards. You can see it right there in her picture. That's when the knee was on the neck. That's why she's screaming. Like, well, that's partially why she's screaming. And if you hear in the video, she says, I'm 119 pounds. It was going in and out because he was like literally putting all this pressure on their neck. So it sounds like she could barely get her words out, but she says, I'm 119 pounds. Then she's like, she's kicking because she can't move. She's like a fish out of water. And see, that's the thing when they keep talking about the whole resisting and fighting and everything like that. Do you expect people to just lay there and you have all your pressure on that person's neck, a point, so they can't breathe? You expect them to just lay there and just take that and not expect them to move, and then that's when they can come with the resisting thing. That is just a bunch of bullshit at the end of the day. But then again, look at where we're at again. We're back in Florida again. So she's kicking, she's trying to move and everything like that, and then all of a sudden when you hear her screaming, that's because the pig, him, takes out his taser and does a dry taste straight directly to her stomach. Now, this is where it actually gets more tragic than anything, because what the news clip did not tell you, and I had to find out by reading the comments of the unedited version, which was on Instagram, is that this woman was a few weeks pregnant, and that dry taste to the stomach terminated her pregnancy. This woman lost her child because of that taser. They need to also bring that pig up, this one right here, up on murder charges. But then none of the news outlets are saying that. And I saw it so many times in the comments section. They said that this woman was a few weeks pregnant and the tase to her stomach. And you can actually see him tase her stomach. Like, it's right there on her stomach. And that's why she was screaming. And she ended up losing her child because of that. That's the worst part of this entire video, of the entire ordeal. And then the part that I wanted you to hear at the end, and you probably did hear it because the security guard said it a few times. When the friend was recording it, the security guard, who looked like he looked like he was a black guy, said, "Can you delete that? Can you delete that? Can you delete that?" And the friend said, "No, I'm not deleting it." They wanted to cover for these pigs for what they did to this woman. At this point, fuck whatever led up to why they were called. The fact that they pulled her out of the car, put his knee on her neck, which could have killed her, then tased her in her stomach twice, terminating her pregnancy, and then asking the friend to delete the video multiple times so you could not put this out there, that's an issue. And this happened back in January 14th to be exact. Here we are at the end of June, and they just now got this video out to the public yesterday. Now, I'm recording this on June 26th, so it just got put out on June 25th. And they just now put and fired this piece of shit and put him in jail and brought him up on charges. Y'all cannot tell me that without the shadow of a doubt that these so-called individuals in a costume are good people. You can't sit here with a straight face and tell me that. And like I said, she mentioned that her dad was a cop. They didn't care. They did not care. Reminded me of that episode of Family Matters when Eddie had got profiled and they didn't care that his dad was a cop. And not only was his dad a cop, but Carl Winslow was actually above the cops that did this to his son in superiority. So it didn't matter. They just felt like messing with someone that day, and she just happened to be the one on the receiving end of it. But yeah, like I said, the major things that got me was the knee on the neck, the taste to the stomach that made her lose her child, and the security asking the friend to delete the video footage. They had no intentions of this getting out, of this being seen or being shown. None. I couldn't even imagine how traumatic that had to be for her. Like, could you imagine the type of therapy, if she chose to get some, would have to be to, I can't even repeat what happened. This is why people are asking for the defunding of the police today. And the fact that this happened back in January and we're just now learning about it at the end of June. We're talking over 6 months. Just like when it happened with Ahmaud Arbery. Happened back in February. We didn't learn about it until May? With Breonna Taylor. Happened back in March. We didn't learn about it until May. With the recent one with that Elijah McCain, his happened back in November of last year, and we're just learning about it in June. That's another reason why they keep covering shit up. They keep hoping that this stuff doesn't get out to the public and to the masses, because especially with the stuff that's going on, the climate that's going on right now, this could have been popped off before George Floyd, to be quite honest. And this right here, this whole encounter was caught on video. Imagine had the world had seen it. Imagine had we had seen it. And who's to say that they probably tried to put this video out there, but something was blocking them from actually doing it? I don't know. I wish the video could have gotten out way back when. Because here we are thinking that this just happened. A lot of the times when these stories come out, we thinking that it just happened, and we find out that it happened months prior. But yeah, this is why many people do not like nor trust these fake ass rent-a-cops.